guys. How are you doing tonight? Happy Friday. Anyway, I am so happy that you've tuned in to Create the Life You Love on the Chapters Network. I am your host, Georgia Woodbine. And basically, why I do this podcast is to really share conversations with successful entrepreneurs and business owners to really help provide you with content that gives you what? Actionable steps, that gives you techniques and strategies to grow in your business. So, that is the purpose of this podcast. Now, I want you to feel free to share your comments during the podcast, any questions that you have. Make sure that you go to my website, www.georgiawoodbine.com. And like I said, the purpose of this podcast is to share the knowledge, help support you, empower you, most importantly, and really give you tools to move forward in your life and while creating the life you love, right? Because that's the topic of the show, creating the life you love. Now, I want you to remember to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with every single person that you know. Now, I would like to start off by introducing our guest, Paul Scancarelli, I hope I'm saying it correct, is a Long Island native and the founder of the Long Island Buddy Club. Paul Vibes, Paul is a motivational speaker, and he has like so much to offer. He's been featured in numerous publications for his work. Paul has held talks in a variety of venues, including high schools, colleges, libraries, and substance abuse facilities. During his talks, Paul shares his story of overcoming a learning disability and creating the Buddy Club while offering audiences the tools and the mindset, that's so important, to help educating those he comes in contact with. Without further ado, hey Paul, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a while since we've connected, so I'm really grateful to be connecting with you in this platform. And I love what you said, creating the life that you love and that you want, and creating opportunities. I agree 100%.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so excited to have you on the show because I know it's been a while since the last time we spoke, but I know you're always doing new, innovating things. So, why don't you just start off by telling us a little bit about your backstory that led you to where you are today?
Yes, thank you. Good question. For me, when people ask me what made you start this or that, and all no matter any type of project, entrepreneurial type of experience, it all leads back to me overcoming my own learning disability at birth. I was choked by the umbilical cord, and it created a learning disability. And as you know, growing up in general, there's so much different types of challenges and insecurities and bullying and things that we deal with growing up. But especially having a learning disability, I really struggled to find myself, to build the confidence and to connect with others, right? And for me, the pivotal moment with overcoming my learning disability was volunteer work, and realizing, kind of like the work that you and I do, is when you're able to help somebody, you're really also helping yourself. And that kind of transformed the way that I viewed myself. That I said, despite my learning disability, despite your challenge, the people watching this, their challenge, despite that, we have the ability to make an impact on someone's life. And I remember the exact moment that happened was when I was sitting there with a veteran, and I was just listening. We weren't doing anything too fancy and crazy and doing anything. It was just me sitting there with him and just seeing the impact that that was able to make on his life. And from those experiences, I started taking care of myself better. I started getting into spirituality. I
Hmm.
started just taking better care of myself. But I noticed my life just kind of transform and the confidence build. And I'm very grateful because around that time as well in high school, I was not just able to help myself, but I remember, bringing in kids from different, that were maybe sitting alone in the cafeteria, or that were dealing with bullying or just didn't have friends, and, that just wanted to be a part of something. And I remember getting them involved in different clubs, and bringing them on those experiences so they get to experience, helping others. And it's truly beautiful. And I know you see this all the time, like when
Hmm.
you see people building their confidence and realizing that, wow, I could do good in this world, you know, and that's really like the thing that kind of put me on this path to do all these different things that I do now.
Hmm. Well, it's so funny because I think like once people like for anyone out there right now that's struggling with where you are in life and where you're trying to go, it always starts with your passion, right, Paul? Because once you start to tap into your passion, it just opens up so many doors for you. Like Paul said, it's like it started off with him doing something that was to help him, and he realized, wow, this helped me, it can also help others. And I think in life, true success, and I'm not just talking about any type of success, but true success always comes from you helping someone else. And it's so important when you get on that path. Now, Paul, why don't you share a little bit about what makes you passionate and motivated about what you do?
Mm. Well, when you say that, it also reminds me again of that quote you said in the beginning when you said, "Create the life you want to live." And the latest thing as an entrepreneur doing all these different things,
Mm-hmm.
um, I noticed that there wasn't a lot of fun nightlife and festivals for people that were a little bit more health conscious, that wanted to connect and have fun, but they didn't want to go to a bar. They didn't want to go to a festival and get messed up and be drunk and drinking. And so I saw a need in my life and in the community of an opportunity to have fun, to get together, to bring like-minded people and entrepreneurs like yourself who care about community and connection, to bring people together and have fun. And that's where I created Vibe Fest. And the nice thing about Vibe Fest is it brings people together from all walks of life. We might have somebody selling crystal necklaces, custom clothing. It could be jewelry. It could somebody doing Reiki sessions or massage therapy or selling different herbal tinctures or tea. And it gives creators and entrepreneurs and artists, painters, opportunity to share their artwork. But then we also have the live music. So you can enjoy music, you can dance, you can connect with different artists that way. And then we
Mm-hmm.
also have workshops so people can not just socialize or support other business owners, but also take part in maybe a yoga class or a sound healing or a meditation or a speaker like yourself, which is something that we're going to have to talk about, getting you involved with one of our events. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I saw this need, for something like Vibe Fest, and what's amazing about it is it allows me to kind of add all these other components of my life, like with the work with the special needs community, the schools. And I see that a lot of people with special needs coming to these events because it's inclusive. They know that it's a good
Mm-hmm.
crowd. There's not people getting drunk and causing
Right.
problems. And
Mm-hmm.
we see a lot of people also from the LGBTQ plus community. So we just try to create a very loving, safe environment where you can have fun but still grow. And that's something that's been really taking off for me in this past year or two. And it's been such a uplifting and empowering experience for me and the others that are on this journey with me as well.
So did you say that it's like an annual thing that you do? You do it every year?
Yes, that probably
Oh.
would be the smartest idea to because it takes a lot of work and planning, but we do it a lot more often because
Oh.
there's such a need for it. There's such a need to people want to come together like yourself, entrepreneurs. We do a lot of networking events. So
Mm-hmm.
some events are bigger than others. So some events might be us meeting at a cafe or meeting at a park or us going to Kava, which is I'll just explain a little bit what Kava is. But we do small events and then we do bigger festivals, right? So just for example, we're doing a big festival Sunday, August. I think it's August 6th, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be at this wellness place called the Vitality Center in Comac. So we're taking the whole parking lot, and we're going to be
Wow.
putting probably 30, 40 vendors, and then
Nice.
inside there'll be workshops. So you can hear
Mm-hmm.
speakers like yourself. You could do a yoga class, you could do a sound healing, and then you can go enjoy some live music outside. So we really do a variety of different types of events.
I think that's wonderful. I mean, I think especially now since COVID, A lot people are looking for work life and balance. They're looking for wellness. They're looking at, they realized that the old normal wasn't serving them. So they're looking more to things that bring them joy, that bring them happiness, that make them feel good. A lot of people still don't want to stop working from home. Some people are like, look, I'm not ready to go into the office. So I definitely think that the pandemic has taught us one of the most important things. One, how important social engagement is, right? Because with the isolation, people realized how important it is to be out there socializing, talking to people, networking. And two, that we all have what? The freedom of choice. We have the freedom of choice to choose the things that bring us joy, happiness, and peace, and to let go of the things that bring us pain and unhappiness and just that anxiety, right? We have the choice to choose what we want. And when you think about your life, you think about it as a metaphor for a garden. Like, what are you planting? What type of garden do you want to plant? Like, what do you want to grow in your garden? And really, what purpose does your garden serve, right? Which is your life. So why don't you share with us, Paul, some of the barriers and setbacks that you faced in your business while you were trying to figure out, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this where I could actually implement my skills, my talent, my natural abilities, my education to really make this work? Why don't you share a little bit about how you were able to overcome some of those obstacles?
Yeah, that's a great question. As you were talking, it reminded me of a talk that I gave to a high school during COVID. And I still give talks, but as you know, I'm always shifting and trying new things. But I remember giving this talk during COVID with a senior class. So can you imagine? Uh, these are young adults. They're looking forward to graduation. They're looking forward to prom. They're looking forward, and this is their final year, right? And they're dealing
Mhm.
with COVID. And they're home. And I remember talking to this. It was a free talk I gave at a school. It was virtual, and uh, I remember how disappointed the students were. And but what was beautiful was we were talking about some of the positive things that came from it for them in a personal level. And so many of them said that they found their passion during this experience. One of them said they loved making jewelry. They were able to work on creating different art and jewelry while, uh, being in quarantine, and they found a new passion. And another one said they found a passion in medicine. They want to be able to help people dealing with things like COVID and other ailments. And it was just so beautiful to see them actually inspiring me, sharing the different positive things that came from them, from that experience. Um, and I just want to share, we find that a lot of people from Vibe Fest had those experiences during COVID where it made them really reflect on their lives, like you were saying. Am I really taking care of my body? Am I taking care of my spirituality, my mental health, my physical health? Am I giving back to the community? And I think in many ways, we see that COVID, as terrible as it obviously is, it really opened up people's eyes and to take better care of themselves and to really do a better job of taking an inventory of like, wow, am I living the life that I really want to live? Right? It made us realize that we are not invincible. Um,
Mhm.
I think one of the challenges, though, you asked me exactly what kind of challenge. For me, it's that part of people where they want to make the transition to living a healthier life. So, for example, we don't serve alcohol at our events. We serve a drink called kava. I mentioned earlier. It's made from the root of a pepper plant, and just as alcohol can make you feel relaxed, there's other herbs and teas and different things that help you feel relaxed. But I find that kava is a great alternative where if you want to drink it, you can, but there's no pressure. We do sell it at our events, and it's just a different energy. The plant has a different vibe, as we say, and it just helps you feel relaxed. You're not intoxicated. You're not hungover. Um, and what's cool though, like I said, is like that transitioning period where people are going from the party lifestyle, drinking alcohol and being hungover the next day, and just really destroying their body, to then
Mhm.
coming to events like Vibe Fest and listening to people like yourself and reading books like your books and like how
Mhm.
do I live a healthier life. And it's really beautiful to see that transition in people when they're making those, healthier choices.
I definitely think people crave that. I think people are craving a new way of doing things. I think what you're doing is fabulous as far as, bringing people together, having a platform really for people to come together and to really, exercise those things where you said, they teach yoga, they teach meditation. Like people can really learn, like you're talking about a healthier lifestyle, little things that you can do that can help you live a healthier lifestyle, like, you know, meditating, taking a class that, either if it's Zumba or it's yoga or it's whatever, it could be anything, but just something that takes you out of that zone where you're constantly overthinking and constantly worrying about the next day and the next thing that you have to do and the next phone call and the next email, things to kind of bring that balance. So, why can't you share some tips on what helps you be like the most productive in your days?
Oh, I think I lost you for a second. So you asked me what are some things that allow me to live, productive life or day to day.
Productive. And what are some
Yeah,
things that help you, be productive in your personal life and in your business?
for me, it's really one of the biggest things is keeping a community, people like yourself who hold me accountable and that will ask me, hey, how's that goal going that you set for yourself last week? Or where's that project? Or hey, where's that cool event that you've been talking about planning? And
Hmm.
it's great, but it also could be scary too because they will keep on you, and it really allows you to be held accountable and to keep following up. I'm somebody that really, when I have an idea, I want to follow through. I want to do my best to see where it goes and to make it happen. And as you know, with event organizing or even just organizing a podcast, there's so many moving pieces and things that are required. But to me, keeping a community, surrounding yourself with people who are also entrepreneurs or into wellness, into spirituality, that are doing something every day to better themselves, that for
Hmm.
me has been a really crucial part of my growth is just keeping the right people around me.
That is so important. I think, everything at first starts with your mindset, right? But it's also about who's in your circle, because you have to look at your circle of five. Your circle of five are the people that you talk to all the time, the people that sometimes it's friends, sometimes it's family, sometimes it's just people that's in your group. But you have to look at that group and say, is this person bringing positive energy to me? Is this person bringing negative energy to me? And you need to decipher like what kind of energy they're bringing to you, because the people around you can help you to evolve, or the people around you can help you to stay stagnant. So you have to choose that circle, and like whether you want to believe it or not, you have the power to shape your future with your thoughts and who you surround yourself with. And I think that once people learn how to get past those common fears of one, the unknown, of not having enough, of losing control, of loss, and most importantly what other people think, once you can get past that, then you can start to see the light, right, Paul? Then you can start to tap into your gifts and your talents and really use them to really make a difference in the world, like what you're doing, Paul. Now let's talk a little bit about networking, because that's a really big part to building your business. How important would you say networking is to building your business?
Oh my God, I made this joke to somebody the other day. I said if there was a degree in networking, I would love to go to school for it because truly connecting with just one person can change your life. We think about we need to network with a million people, but you connect with the right person. Like for example, networking with you, you invited me onto the show, and here we are. I think that when you put yourself out there, it
Hmm.
almost in a way becomes addicting because you see how much your life can transform, um,
Hmm.
and how that translates to so many things. That person might introduce you to one other person, and that person introduces you to two people, and that could lead to new friendships, that could lead to new business opportunity, that could lead to relationships, romantic friendships. So many different type of relationships can be formed, um, and I think that you slowly see people now that have, as you talking about COVID, putting themselves out there more, and networking is a huge part of our events. I actually do small events that are just for networking where we don't have the live music, we don't have the workshops. It's just like a simple midweek. We're going to be at this kava bar, come network with other entrepreneurs. And
Mm-hmm.
what's so beautiful about that, and I think you'll agree, it's like when you see somebody who's kind of on the fence. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I want to put myself out there or offer these services. They start coming to these little meetups and they're like, wow, I want to get a business card, or I want to build a website, or I want to start a
Mm-hmm.
podcast, or I want to step into my power. And so you see a lot of people stepping into their power, and networking is just, it truly can change your life. So I highly recommend anybody who's
Mm-hmm.
watching this that is not involved in some type of networking, just give it a try. And there's
Mm-hmm.
so many, there's so many different types of networking groups depending on your age or your hobbies. If you are interested in wellness and spirituality and you're located on Long Island, New York, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. And whether it's one of our events or we could refer you to another organization, another group, we'd love to
Mm-hmm.
network with you. So
I think that's great, and especially, because you're so young, you understand the importance of that. I think with the wave of the world with technology, I think a lot of people your age tend to get lost in social media, and just really isolating themselves from the world and thinking that everything is going to be done through technology. But in life, in the real world, in life, you have to have point of contact, face to face communication with people. You have to know how to talk to people. You need to know how to really communicate, basically. And I think that a lot of people, especially young people, they don't realize. So I'm so glad that you're on the show sharing with them how it's changed your life and the importance of it. And networking, it provides new opportunities, it creates supporting relationships, it really helps to nurture your business and to help it to keep growing. So definitely we both recommend networking, because I wouldn't be at this level of success if I didn't network. I had to learn that, at some part of my business, that is crucial to getting to the next level in your business. Now, I wanted to find out from you if you could share with us how you have created the life you love, because that's the topic of this show, right? It's called Create the Life You Love. And I think a lot of people are trying to find their niche, they're trying to find their way, they're trying to find out, well, how is this going to work for me? And how have you created the life that you love, Paul?
well, you just discussed networking, which is a huge part. Truly, networking has changed my life and allowed me to live the life I want to live. But to me, it's like putting yourself out there in whatever way you're able to, right? Everyone's got different situations, different living situations, different skill sets, different strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think for me is not putting myself out just to the point where I'm not afraid to start a conversation with somebody at a coffee shop online, or I'm not afraid to message somebody like yourself online and be like, hey, can I have a conversation with you? Just talk to you, pick your brain. Maybe I'm interested in something. Maybe I have some questions about how to do a podcast. Like that's somebody that might want to message you, or about your books. For me, I get a lot of people that put themselves out there and they reach out to me and they say, "Hey, I want to get into wellness or spirituality. I want to get into yoga, or I want to put my artwork out there." So for me, living the life that I want to live, putting myself out there is a huge, huge part of that. Taking risks. That's another big part. Is not being afraid to for the possibility of failure. I think so many people in my generation, they want the instant, as you know, they want the instant gratification, like you said, with social
Mm-hmm.
media. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the nice thing about, I love networking. So for me, that helps me kind of separate myself from the average young adult, because a lot of young adults, they're not very comfortable with phone calls. They'd rather text you.
Right,
They're like, oh, sometimes I get people that get weirded out when I say, hey, you want to jump on a call? I just want to, it's easier for me to connect that way.
right,
And yeah, and that's something, as like not many people want to do is jump on a call.
right. Absolutely. Now, let's talk a little bit about what success means, because I think success means different things to different people. What does how would you define success? What does success mean to you?
That's a good question. For me, when I reflect at the end of my day, I go, do, what steps did I do today to make the most out of life or get closer to my goals, right? Because the truth is, we all are working, we're all creating a certain lifestyle for ourselves, and sometimes the results don't come till later on, right? Like I'm at a point right now with Vibe Fest is, you know, I'd rather invest in these events than pay myself, or I'd rather give back to the community at this point. I'm at the building stage. So my success is not coming from the so-called money, or my happiness isn't coming from money necessarily. It's coming from seeing the new connections be formed and new friendships be formed, and see how appreciative people are when they come to these events and how they want to come back and they want to stay. Um, so for me, my success is really connected to, like I said, seeing those connections be formed and seeing people come together. When I have an event that night, I usually sleep so well. I feel so happy, and thinking of all the new connections and friendships, and uh, how much it just helps people, right? Because if they're making new clients, they're making new friends, we're
Right.
supporting each other's families when we are able to come together that way. So
Hmm.
um, that to me is how I view success for myself, my own personal.
Your personal,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Wonderful. Now, can you just share where people can contact you quickly?
Yes, the main way to follow me would be on my Instagram, which is, I hope I'm sure I'll put up on the screen, is vibefestny. And if you want to email me, it's info@vibefest.com. Again, that's info@vibefest.com. But Instagram is really the best way. I post all my events on there. I post different things in the community. And if anybody, like I said, has any questions or wants to know more about our networking events, or be on our join our email list for our festivals, definitely don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, thank you so much. I don't know
Thank
if we
you.
have time for the signature question, but I'm going to ask you really
Do
quickly.
it.
If you were to look into the mirror, what would you tell your younger self?
Say, be easy on yourself. Stop being so hard on yourself. You don't have to have everything figured out. You still won't have everything all figured out at 29, 39, 49. Just be easy on yourself, and try to show more self love and self care. That's what I would share.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Paul. It's
Thank
such a
you.
pleasure having you
That's
on the show. I mean, what you're doing is awesome. I commend you, all your hard
Thank you.
work.
Thank you.
Trust me, it'll pay off, and it'll pay off by you feeling good by the people that you help. So thank you so much, and I definitely have to have you back on the show at a later date.
Love that.
Thank you. Stay tuned, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.